Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something today that may shake the very foundation of what you believe about happiness, because we have been trained, conditioned, and indoctrinated into a system that tells us that if we just think the right thoughts, we'll finally feel good, that if we just master the mind, we'll walk in joy, that if we just study enough, analyze enough, intellectualize enough, we'll stumble upon the treasure chest called happiness. But I came here to tell you today, with all the conviction of my soul, that your mind can't make you happy. Not because it's broken, but because it was never designed to. And that revelation right there, brothers and sisters, is the beginning of your liberation. You see, we've given the mind too much power in a place it was never intended to govern. We've asked the calculator to paint a masterpiece. We've asked the engine to play a love song. We've asked the microscope to describe the stars, and then we're disappointed when the mind doesn't deliver joy, peace, and fulfillment. We sit in silence trying to think our way into happiness, but the more we think, the more we sink, because thought is not the pathway to bliss. It's a tool, not a destination. Your mind is the servant, not the master, and the moment you elevate the servant to the throne, the kingdom falls into chaos. Brothers and sisters, we are divine beings made in the image of a creator who did not limit us to our logic. He breathed life into us, and that breath carried more than reason. It carried spirit, it carried emotion, it carried purpose, and until we reconnect to the source of that breath, we'll keep asking the mind to do the job of the soul. But let me go deeper, because I know some of you are still thinking, but isn't it my thoughts that create my feelings? And yes, there's some truth there, but there's a deeper truth too, and that is your identity determines the quality of your thoughts, and your spirit determines the direction of your life. If your mind is seated on a foundation of fear, you can meditate all you want, affirm all you want, but the roots are still rotten, and the fruit will still be bitter. Happiness is not the product of positive thinking. It's the byproduct of alignment with purpose, with presence, and with divine truth. But the problem is, most of us have never questioned the architect of our thoughts. We assume that because a thought shows up, it must be valid, it must be relevant, it must be entertained. But let me tell you something radical. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. Just because it screams doesn't mean you should listen. Your mind has been shaped by trauma, by culture, by childhood programming, by societal lies, by media manipulation, and then you wonder why you can't think your way into happiness. That's like using a crooked ruler to draw a straight line. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, the tool is bent, and until you become aware of the bend, you'll keep wondering why your joy feels distorted. Brothers and sisters, your mind is brilliant, your intellect is a gift, but it is not the light, it's a lens. And if the lens is smudged with fear, guilt, shame, pride, or unworthiness, then everything you see will look dirty even if the world is clean. You've been looking through your pain and calling it perspective. You've been looking through your ego and calling it truth. You've been looking through your fear and calling it logic. No wonder you're not happy. No wonder the success still feels empty. No wonder the relationships don't satisfy. No wonder the money still leaves you hungry. Because when the lens is broken, the view will always deceive you. And you know what's worse? We've started worshiping the mind. We elevate knowledge over wisdom. We seek facts over faith. We pursue information and ignore revelation. We chase credentials and forget character. We memorize data but can't feel love. And the more we feed the mind and starve the soul, the more we walk around like spiritual skeletons. Intelligent, capable, educated, but empty. Brothers and sisters, that's not the life we were designed for. That's not dominion. That's not freedom. That's not joy. That's a prison made of thoughts. And the warden is your ego, telling you that if you just fix one more thing, if you just achieve one more goal, if you just solve one more problem, then you'll be happy. But I'm here to break that lie today, because joy is not a destination. Peace is not a goal. Happiness is not something you earn. It's something you align with. And alignment does not come from the mind. It comes from the heart, from the soul, from the eternal part of you that existed before your first thought and will outlive your last breath. You want to be happy. Then stop trying to fix your thoughts and start healing your spirit. Stop trying to outthink your pain and start releasing your shame. Stop trying to micromanage life and start surrendering to truth. Because real happiness is not found in control. It's found in connection. And connection requires vulnerability, authenticity, presence, and faith. That's why your mind can't make you happy, but it cannot create. It can evaluate, but it cannot elevate. It can judge, but it cannot love. Love comes from the deeper part of you, the eternal part of you, the part of you that was made in God's image, not the part that was formed by the world's opinions. And let me tell you something powerful. When you begin to live from that place, from that divine core, your mind starts to change not because you forced it, but because you freed it. You don't overcome fear by analyzing it. You overcome it by walking in truth. You don't destroy shame by hiding it. You destroy it by shining light on it. You don't break anxiety by controlling everything. You break it by trusting the one who holds everything. Brothers and sisters, if you want joy, you must dethrone the mind and enthrone the spirit. You must stop bowing to logic and start listening to love. You must stop letting the news feed be your gospel and start letting the truth of your identity be your foundation. You must stop worshiping the God of productivity and start communing with the God of purpose. Because no amount of thinking will make you feel what only grace can give you. No amount of control will produce what only surrender can birth. And no amount of doing will replace the joy of simply being. That's the paradox the world doesn't teach you. That's the truth your professors won't preach. That's the secret hidden in plain sight, that your mind is the tool, not the temple, and your happiness is not the result of mental gymnastics. It's the fruit of spiritual alignment. You don't need more answers. You need more awareness. You don't need more knowledge. You need more knowing. You don't need more effort. You need more embodiment. You've been chasing happiness with your feet when it's been waiting in your soul. You've been searching for joy in your schedule when it's sitting in your stillness. You've been trying to earn peace with performance when it's been offered freely by presence. Brothers and sisters, I'm not saying abandon your mind. I'm saying put it in its proper place. Let it serve, but never let it reign. Let it process, but never let it rule. Let it think, but never let it tell you who you are. Because who you are is not a thought. It's a truth. Who you are is not a concept. It's a calling. Who you are is not an algorithm. It's an anointing. And when you begin to live from that truth, think from that calling, speak from that anointing, you will find that happiness is not something you chase. It's something you carry. You'll walk into a room and light it up, not because your mind is sharp, but because your spirit is alive. You'll face challenges with courage, not because you have the answers, but because you have the awareness. You'll love people fully, not because you figured them out, but because you've forgiven yourself. And in that place, the place beyond logic, beyond control, beyond thought, you'll find the peace that passes understanding. You'll find the joy that makes no sense. You'll find the love that breaks every chain. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the freedom you were created for. That is the power that no depression can steal, no failure can crush, no fear can shake. So today, if you've been trapped in your mind, trying to think your way into happiness, I'm inviting you to surrender. Surrender the obsession with understanding and embrace the beauty of trust. Surrender the addiction to figuring it all out and embrace the miracle of living it fully. Surrender the illusion that your mind can save you, and remember that you were never meant to be your own savior. You were meant to be a vessel, a reflection, a light, and when you return to that design, when you flow in that truth, when you live from that place, happiness will stop being a struggle and start being your natural state. Because the reason your mind can't make you happy is that happiness doesn't come from the mind. It comes from the alignment of your soul with the truth that you are already whole, already worthy, already loved, and already enough. And if you are still with me, brothers and sisters, then I know something in your soul is stirring. Something deep is resonating. Something ancient and sacred is remembering the truth you've always known, but maybe forgot in the chaos of life. The truth that you were never meant to manufacture happiness from your mind, like some factory of forced positivity. You were designed to overflow with it from the river of your soul, and that river doesn't flow because you figured everything out. It flows because you finally let go. Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the fear of getting it wrong. Let go of the mental cage that told you happiness had to be earned through hustle and mental gymnastics. And embrace the unshakable, eternal truth that you are already connected to the source of joy, the source of peace, the source of everything your mind has been restlessly chasing. See, we've been told that thinking more means we're evolving, but what if the next level of your life is not in thinking more, but in feeling deeper, in being more fully present, more surrendered, more trusting, more alive, because you can spend your whole life sharpening your intellect and still feel like a dull blade in the fight of life, because the battle for your joy is not won by calculation. It's won by revelation, And revelation doesn't come to the noisy mind, it comes to the still heart. And that's why the world will always distract you with information, so you never tune into the transformation happening within you. Your happiness has never been outside you, and it has never been in your mind. It has always lived in the quiet places, the sacred places, the places your intellect cannot access and your ego cannot control. And the moment you stop trying to think your way into a feeling and start allowing yourself to feel what's already there, you'll realize that happiness is not a puzzle to solve, it's a presence to embody. Brothers and sisters, I know the world taught you that if you can just get it all together up here, pointing to the head, then everything down to the heart will magically work out. But that's the lie that keeps you running, striving, doubting, and suffering, because life does not flow from the head down. It flows from the heart out. That's why people with all the knowledge in the world can still feel completely lost. That's why people with PhDs in psychology still battle depression. That's why the rich, the powerful, the influential still crumble in their private moments. Because joy doesn't come from knowing the facts. It comes from living in truth. And truth is not an idea. Truth is a frequency, a vibration, a resonance that shakes the lies out of your bones and replaces them with light. Your mind can't give you that. It can observe it, analyze it, debate it, but it can't be it. Because the truth must be lived, not just learned. And the moment you stop needing to explain your happiness is the moment you'll start living it. Because joy is not logical. Peace is not reasonable. Faith is not analytical. These are divine qualities, not mental calculations. You can't spreadsheet your way into peace. You can't Google your way into fulfillment. You can't YouTube your way into purpose. You must live it. You must embody it. You must become the living proof of what can't be taught in books and can't be stored in your brain. And that's where freedom begins. Not when you control your thoughts, but when you release the need to control everything and trust the God who made you. I want to speak to that part of you that's tired of trying to fix yourself, tired of judging yourself for not being happy enough, for not having it all figured out, for not being the perfect thinker, the perfect planner, the perfect performer. I want you to hear this clearly. Your mind is not broken. It's just exhausted from trying to do a job it was never meant to do. Your mind was created to serve your vision, not to create it. Your mind was designed to protect your body, not to produce your purpose. And when you put the full weight of your happiness on your brain, it collapses under the pressure, and that's when the anxiety creeps in. That's when the depression flares up, not because you're weak, but because your soul is crying out for a different way, a higher way, a truer way. And that way begins with surrender. That way begins when you realize that the answers you're looking for aren't in your mind. They're in your awareness. When you become aware of who you are, when you become aware of your value that doesn't change with your bank account or your accomplishments, when you become aware of your connection to the divine that no mistake can ever erase, when you become aware that the breath in your lungs is proof that you still have purpose, then happiness begins to rise. Not because you figured it out, but because you stopped fighting it. Brothers and sisters, I know this world is loud. I know your phone is constantly screaming at you to consume more, compare more, control more. But you don't need more. You need less. Less noise. Less pressure. Less pretending. And more presence. More stillness. Because in that stillness, you'll hear the voice that was drowned out by your own thoughts. The voice that says, you are enough. You are loved. You are held. You are guided. Not someday when you get it all right, but right now, right here in the middle of your mess, your confusion, your doubts. That voice isn't coming from your mind. It's coming from your source. And when you listen to that voice, when you tune your heart to its frequency, suddenly the need to fix, to control, to prove, to perform, all of it starts to fall away. And what's left? Peace, joy, grace. And those are the things you've been looking for, aren't they? Not more achievements, not more validation, but the kind of happiness that doesn't disappear when circumstances change. The kind of joy that doesn't get shaken by bad news. The kind of love that doesn't require explanation. And brothers and sisters, that kind of happiness only flows when the mind steps aside and the soul steps forward. You see, your soul is the master key. Your soul doesn't need to know how. It just knows now. It knows what's sacred. It knows that you were never meant to do life alone, and never meant to live in fear, and never meant to build your identity on the opinions of people who don't even know their own worth. Your soul knows that you're more than your job, more than your title, more than your trauma, more than your thoughts. And when you live from that place, when you move from that knowing, suddenly happiness stops being something you try to hold on to and starts being something that holds you. It becomes your natural rhythm, your default state, your spiritual posture. Not because life is perfect, but because you've stopped demanding perfection to feel peace. You've stopped waiting for circumstances to align before you allow joy. You've stopped living from the head up and started living from the heart out. And now, let me tell you what happens when you start living this way, when you stop putting your happiness in the hands of your intellect and start placing it in the hands of truth. You become unshakable. Storms come, but you don't flinch. Loss happens, but you don't lose yourself. Criticism hits, but it doesn't stick. Because your joy is not up for negotiation. Your peace is not a product of performance. Your self-worth is not a project your mind has to complete. It's a promise your Creator already fulfilled. And from that place, you begin to speak differently. You begin to walk differently. You begin to make decisions not from fear, but from flow. And people will look at you and wonder how you do it, how you smile in the chaos, how you stay grounded in the noise, how you move with grace while the world is panicking. And you'll just smile, not because you have the answer, but because you've stopped needing one. You'll just live in the beauty of the moment, in the fullness of your being, in the simplicity of your surrender. Because now you know the truth that sets you free, the truth that your mind is not your master and never was. And your happiness doesn't depend on getting your thoughts right, but on getting your alignment right. So brothers and sisters, as I bring this message to your heart, I don't ask you to agree with everything. I ask you to feel what's resonating in your spirit. I ask you to notice the part of you that's been tired of striving. I ask you to honor the part of you that's ready to let go. Because happiness is not found in figuring it out. It's found in finally remembering who you are. And who you are is not your job, not your thoughts, not your fears. Who you are is light. Who you are is love. Who you are is Lowell. And no thought can take that away from you. So let your mind serve that truth. Let your intellect support that purpose. But never let it replace your source. Because this truth, this love, this alignment is why you're here. And once you live from that space, the search ends, the striving ends, and happiness becomes not just what you feel, but who you are. So brothers and sisters, as we bring this journey to a close, I want you to pause, not just in your thoughts. I want you to feel what's been awakened in you today, because this was never just about words. This was about a shift, a divine shift, a holy interruption to the cycle of overthinking and under-living. You were not created to be a prisoner of your mind, but a carrier of peace. You were not built to chase happiness like it's some distant prize. You were born to release it from the inside out. And now you know, now you see, that the mind is a tool, not a throne. That joy is your inheritance, not your reward. That your soul holds the key to everything your thoughts have tried to unlock. You don't need to chase clarity anymore. You don't need to beg for peace. You don't need to perform for happiness. You are already aligned, already connected, already enough. Let your mind serve your mission, but never let it steal your joy. Walk forward from this moment, not trying harder, but trusting deeper. Not thinking more, but living fuller. Not calculating life, but flowing with it. You've got everything you need. It's not out there. It's in you. Let it rise. Let it shine. Let it carry you into the life that was always waiting for you on the other side of surrender. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your openness. I thank you for your willingness to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. May the truth spoken today not just inspire you, but transform you. And as you go forward, may your joy be deep, your peace be unshakable, and your happiness be no longer something you seek, but something you live. Thank you.